about the conditions that we face and how to deal with them, so that we can build more, have power, and transform that into a world where all of our peoples and needs and desires and hopes are met. Oh, please, we have a few open.
Okay. All right. This, again, I wanted to kind of broaden out the question. And I want to speak to building our people's power and also speak to what I believe are some key actors in our ability to articulate our dreams. A key to building more power to transform this world is the ability to create and assert bold, long-term visions with short-term goals and strategies that implement work to realize these dreams. One key to developing long-term alternative visions is our ability to understand and integrate who we are and our context. We've talked a bit about the current crises facing our people. We've talked about the demographic shift in the U.S. That shift also, the majority of LGBT two-spirit people will be people of color. And so thinking about the fact that race has always been central to political power in the United States. And if history tells us anything, people power is going to be one of our greatest strengths that we have in fighting to transform this world. The fight between the haves and the have-nots is only going to get worse. And we're going to need all of us if we're going to truly transform what we're facing. So to me, a key practical strategy within that is building structures to engage masses of people through political homes with clear entry points. People are pissed, by and large, and want to get down and fight. I feel like I see it on the bus, I see it at the bodega, I see it when I'm substitute teaching, I see it. People are pissed off, and they want to get down. And it's our job to help them get down. So I feel like one of our, within our current strategies, we are by and large missing the majority of the people. We cannot solely locate our political work within the dichotomy of the nonprofit professional and those that are so damn screwed that we need to give them services. Right? Because actually, thank you, some snapping. We need organizations that serve as political homes where people can engage politically, and they themselves are central to the liberation strategy of that organization. We need organizations that hold radical teachers, that hold the radical progressive person who works at CVS, your mechanic, a nurse, the artist. I talk a lot, people who know me know I talk a lot about team justice, and I like team sports, go Raiders. But I believe that our movement is a lot like team justice where everyone has a role. And a winning political strategy must have mass engagement. There must be a role for many, many, many different types of people. We must figure out more ways to concretely relate to each other in this room and those outside of this room who are on the side of justice. As the right seeks to divide us through wedge issues, our strategies must harness our unity. Our identities as LGBT people of color position us abundantly to fight for collective rights. Our political work is informed by our identities, and when our identities are amazingly intersectional and placed within a political framework where our shared identities and experiences of oppression, exploitation, and nonconforming are foregrounded, we have a whole hell of a lot in common. And if we always fight for the most left behind, then we all come up. And if we fight for the most hated, that will push us beyond simply expanding and making accessible the status quo to more privileged members of our marginalized groups, but will push us into visions and strategies that include us all. Visions so bold, they seek to transform the oppressive conditions themselves. We must link our identities, our intersectional analysis of power with concrete coalitional work. Move united, not getting pigeonholed into single approaches or issues. In prioritizing coalition building, the short-term work you're engaged in might not be your most pressing issue, but it is within a long-term strategy. Immediate tactical unity is strategic if you have long-term shared goals. Right? So Major talked about our relationships to each other, to being kind and generous with each other, and sometimes sacrificing for each other. And so I'm going to fight at your front door because tomorrow we'll fight at mine. Some of the best examples I've seen engaging mass amounts of people are work that happens inside and outside the system, where we use our power and our relationships like circulars, where we could dream about For instance, eliminating the prison industrial complex, right? Our vision, yes, talk about. Our vision is a world of community safety and restoration and without cages. But we need smart strategies that help us get there and do not undermine our long-term goals. So for instance, the Matthew Shepard Law Enforcement Enhancement Act, which federally gave police $10 million for enhanced policing and prosecution. Right? I'm talking about smart reform strategies. Like the work, I'm doing some work in Tucson, Arizona with probation and the courts. But you best believe that the number of youth has dropped from an inside daily average count from 160 down to 58. This is essential work, but we know that even though we're making significant change, ultimately we want to starve the beast completely. So we're also building barrio defense committees and safety networks, completely outside our system, so that our young people are never captured by our enemies in the first place. Right? So finally, I just want to say a few notes on the essentialness of dreaming, because we must be able to dream, and anyone in this room that's also been depressed, been homeless, been down and out, in some way understands the ability to articulate a refusal to accept our suffering as inevitable, to see an alternative is absolutely necessary. In the building of movements, every mass movement I participated in or studied, artists and cultural workers have played an indispensable role in articulating collective vision and dream. There's something sacred about art and cultural work, about how it moves people that I still don't understand, but I ultimately respect. Integrating cultural work that articulates our people's desires and possibility of freedom is crucial for us to get to scale. Shout out to the artists.